Hello, we're on. So it's just gone 12:30. And John, you there?
Yeah, James, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. You?
Not bad,
You?
mate. Just got to see how we work with this. Clubhouse.
Yeah. See if anyone joins us.
Mate,
It might just be us sitting here
it.
talking to each other. I just
No, you're right, mate.
I put on the live stream on LinkedIn as well. So I normally do. I've been doing. Well, I did last week, and my plan was to keep doing it for a little while. 12:30 on a Friday, jump on live on LinkedIn. So I don't know if the audio is coming through on LinkedIn or not, but I've got the stream going there too.
No, that's it. That's it, mate. That's it. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
To you, mate. Obviously, we've been chatting, but I'm guessing the year's been a good start. It looked like you've hitting some of your fitness goals, which is good.
Yeah, getting going on that. The old Vitality. Are you on Vitality? Have you given it a go?
Yeah. I did. Mine was a bit tricky. So I still do it today, and my missus does it, and there's a lot of clients that utilise it as well. But I actually had back surgery about 18 months ago. So
did you?
Vitality didn't like me. Yeah, Vitality didn't like me sitting around in a hospital bed too long. So. But no, it's a very, very good program. Anything to encourage a bit of health and well-being, I think is worth it. And it's a good program for people, for many people. So good work, man.
Yes, I got onto it. Clients on it. I had a particular couple, husband and wife. They were like diehard. They had it. One of them was involved in testing it for one of the private health insurance companies. He was involved in kind of testing it, and he was told by the private health insurance company that he was working for that they gave it to all of their employees for a little while, and they said to them, test it and see if you can break it before we roll it out to our health insurance members. And he loved it. So he used to always rave about it whenever I had a meeting with him, whenever I caught up with him. And so anyway, my insurance was up for renewal during the middle of the year. Just gone, and I switched it all across and got onto the program, and loving it. It's really good. Where are you at the moment? You home?
We're working. Yeah, we're working from home. So we're umming and ahhing if we go back to a permanent workspace, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, do we stay at multiple locations and kind of change it up a little bit, which seems to be even the flavour for the month for a few people, or, do we have a fixed location? It's something actually we're putting out to our clients. So we've done a little bit of we've got like a little community group, and shot that out to the clients and said, what's your thoughts? And we're kind of collecting all that because in a post-COVID world, I think it's going to be very different for a lot of people. And a lot of people are used to virtual. I know that, it pains me that I need to go to the doctor sometimes to get a script, and telehealth was just so good. So we'll see how that rolls out.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you're operating over multiple offices, are you? You don't just have the one down the road here? So at
the moment we've got that. That's still our main office location. But long term, I don't know what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
And I think we've been joined by Brad. So Brad, welcome to the Clubhouse. It's our first crack at it. So please be nice, and hopefully you get a little bit out of it.
Yeah. There's a couple of people have chimed in on LinkedIn. Joyce Ong, who comments on a bit of my stuff. She's like, got a case of FOMO. Should she get an iPhone so that she can join the Clubhouse? Joyce, we're just giving it a go for the first time. I've listened to a couple. I got onto one yesterday, and Grant Cardone, you come across him. He was on there. He was on there, and I think it was some pitch event. Businesses pitching these millionaires to get some investment. But anyway,
I think I was listening to the same one, mate. So big Uncle Jeff B10X. He's all over it. So Gary V's been pushing it a fair bit, but no, listen, I think it's a good platform. You know, to be totally honest with you, I can see it working in many different facets, and even in financial advice. I think that being able to get people all in one room to have a chat and throw up questions is really good, because hopefully we can answer a few. So, Joyce, with the whole iPhone 12 thing, I don't know, financially speaking, if you go out and buy
you there?
Expensive like that, mate. So I can't keep up.
Joyce. So the whole invites thing is an interesting one. Robert Tadros, who I've known for a little while, he invited me. I think I commented enough times on various LinkedIn posts saying, someone please invite me, and Robert Tadros invited me. Joyce, if you get an iPhone, I'll invite you, but I don't know if you'd bother going to get an iPhone just for this app. Surely it'll come out on Android and everything else shortly. So what are we going to talk about, John? You want to? So
yeah, well, I think, mate. You know, obviously, we're very much on the social media front. I can obviously, I've been following you for a while. Obviously, you see a lot of things that I do, and I've been starting to, really capture a larger audience and a much more wider range of individuals than maybe that we traditionally just used to walk into our office.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of people that are potentially scared out there to jump into working with a financial advisor.
Yeah,
and obviously we look at, we both follow Ryan King from Three Kings as well, and he's obviously very strong in his approach with this. But I'm finding that there's a bit of a disconnect between, how can I put it, a bit of a disconnect between maybe what a financial advisor really does and the value that we can add. And I think also, kind of the paying for what you get. Like, obviously we're talking about a bit like an iPhone 12. People are willing to go out and buy an iPhone 12 for that instant gratification. But, working with an advisor to reach their goals is sometimes a big hurdle. So maybe just touching base on maybe what you've found recently, because I know that I've found that there's a little bit of a disconnect from the wider range of the public community about what we do, how we add value and whatnot.
Yeah. So I think a lot of, and I'm sure you probably feel the same, a lot of, and this came up through the social channels in particular over the last year with this, kind of great big drop in share markets. A lot of, I had quite a few people reach out to me to say, markets have dropped, I want to take advantage of it, and kind of thinking that my only job was to tell people to buy BHP shares or Afterpay shares or whatever it was. And so certainly the conversation would start there, and that was the trigger point for someone to reach out. There's always a trigger point that something happens in someone's life. Something happens in someone's life that causes them to reach out, and for a few people that was it. But then I'm sure, as we'll all have our own ways about doing it, but you kind of start to dig a little bit deeper, and it's all about this whole idea about why are you doing whatever it is that you're doing. And somewhere along the lines, someone posted about something to the order of, you don't just say, someone says, oh, you're going on a holiday. You don't just say, oh, I'm getting a Qantas flight. So, okay, well, where's your Qantas flight going? Oh, no, I'm just getting a Qantas flight. And that's almost the mentality that you kind of find a lot of people tend to have to say, oh, share market's dropped, I'm going to invest. But why? Actually, do you really need to? And what are you trying to achieve? Or the classic one's the investment property. I'm sure you probably you got the mortgage broking that you do as well. People come in and say, I've got my house. I bought an investment property. So, okay, great, but like why? What? Just not just because you thought you had to. And so you spend a fair bit of time doing that whole why.
I find that a lot of people believe still that financial advisors are just product sellers and putting directly to the end solution.
Yeah.
And I think that you've hit the nail on the head about the whole why piece, that, people need to have a purpose for what they're doing. You know, when you talk about what happened through COVID, you know, I was kind of pretty much a financial psychologist throughout that whole time, you know.
True.
And, you know, stopping, you know, when people say to me at a barbecue, what's the two main things you do? Well, it's, you know, stop my clients from making silly decisions and trying to look around corners they can't see. And, you know, mate, you know, I think every nearly connection was, hey, I've got 10 grand, which stock do I put it in? Or, you know, do I jump on Bitcoin or whatever it is? And, you know, obviously we can't give advice, especially, you know, when we don't know these people's situations. But, you know, I think there's a lot of people out there more than ever due to these desperate times that are just trying to make a quick buck. And it probably, you know, if they really sat down and actually, you know, mapped it out with a good financial advisor, they get so much further. Yes, maybe over a long-term period, but, you know, we're not trying to build wealth that lasts 2 days. We're trying to build wealth that lasts, you know, a lifetime or beyond.
Generations.
So, you know, I think, you know, there is a big disconnect about potentially what we do. And, you know, I'm really trying to get on the front foot, you know, especially on my socials, to try and retrain a lot of the public around, you know, we're here to, you know, like we said, you know, control the behaviours that we're seeing being presented every day, and try and use our professional knowledge and expertise to look around corners they can't see. And, you know, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of clients that took advantage of some of the prices that presented themselves in March. But, you know, did we know that was the bottom of the market? No, we were rebalancing their portfolios because their equity position just dropped by 30% and they're over in cash. You know, we're sticking to a long-term asset allocation, but, you know, even now, mate, you know, markets are at nearly all-time highs if they're not already at all-time highs, and people are calling saying, hey, I want to dump my money in. You know, and when you ask the reason why, it's because Joe, Mary, Jack and Jill are making a ton of money out of it. You know, like, isn't that the whole thing about the guy, the Uber driver, telling us about Bitcoin? You know, it's so many
sticking
things.
To long term. It's the you know, we'll all have, all of us in the industry will have some stories about the, you know, kind of protecting people from themselves, and the last year has been a big one. I'm sure you had a few phone calls through March saying, oh, should I sell my shares? Should I do this? And, you know, there's one particular client that called me a few times, and my phone was running hot there through March. It quieted down, but running hot there through March. And one particular client was terribly panicked, and rightly so. Like, you've got certain emotions. It is what it is. But it's about kind of understanding them, and then you know, trying not to react in the short term. We had a series of conversations over a couple of weeks, and the super fund was dropping, just with markets, and then I don't know what it was, but the following week he called me and he said, "Oh, yeah, my friend said that I should be continuing to, you know, invest and try and buy more and keep my salary sacrifice going," because he was wanting to turn off his salary sacrifice. And I'm like, I've been telling you this for weeks. I don't know why hearing it from your mate has made a difference. But anyway, it was the trigger point for him to turn the corner. And then, you know, we can look back, you know, months later into the future to say, you know, how lucky, you know, luck's probably not the right word, but, you know, how good was it that we didn't actually react like that, kept the position, rebalanced, as you said, just kept going with the plan. You know, these kind of things are going to happen. And there was some.
And I think, you know, I hope that a lot of people, and even the people that are obviously listening on Clubhouse and on LinkedIn, you know, having someone there to, you know, stick to the plan, take the emotion away. You know, how much can you put a price on that? You know, I think, you know, every day I'm stopping my clients from making silly decisions with their money, saving them potentially thousands upon thousands, accumulated that, compound that over a lifetime. You know, good advisors save clients thousands, if not millions of dollars of lost money if I think they did it themselves. So, you know, I'm constantly speaking about how ways we can educate them. I think Russell Investments did a really, really good report around the value of an advisor. And, you know, obviously internally, I think a lot of advisors get that, but, you know, hopefully they're pushing those out. So some of the bigger guys can really start pushing the value of advice. And it's, it's not the advice of the 1990s where it was just sell insurance and super accounts. The new modern advisor is one that's very much about the money mindset and the behaviours around money, and I think it's invaluable to the individuals. I'd rather be spending on a good financial advisor than on a Rolex or something. You know what I mean? I think, or an iPhone 12 on this comment.
There's someone. This is the LinkedIn stream. The LinkedIn Live is also streaming to Twitch, and there's someone's just left a comment to say, "If I was a billionaire, I'd be broke." Not quite. So is Instagram's the big one for you? You've got a fair few followers on there, and you're pretty active. Is that the big social media platform for you?
It is. I'm trying to connect to a lot of people on a personal level. A lot of my clients are very much on a personal level, and don't get me wrong. For me, I'm on the other social platforms, but I find that Instagram is more my type of client, which is a ambitious individual who really wants to start living life on their terms, and really, don't get me wrong. I accommodate for a vast variety of different clientele, but those clientele that's within the 35, 40 age group, couple of kids, life all over the place. You know what I mean? Life in complexities. I want to be that Alfred in Batman. So it's really around having, when I talk about the Alfred in Batman analogy, it's like, Batman can't beat all these villains if Alfred's not doing his job properly and really taking care of all the gadgets and gizmos and making sure that he's looking around the corners that Batman don't see. Yeah. So for me, Instagram's got a massive pool of that, which is, let's talk about it. It's female dominated. It's sometimes the mums who are at home, with a couple of the kids, and they really, and I've got and so for me, it's a matter of just fishing at the ponds where your fish are, So that's why I use Instagram a fair bit, but I also, being a Facebook orientated platform, I think that it's got a lot of legs, in regards to, I think next generations as well. I find the millennials and the children of my clients as well, really much more available on Instagram. So if, James, if you had to ask your friends and say how many people are on Instagram actively or how many people are on LinkedIn actively, in my circle of friends, it's most likely Instagram. Because LinkedIn, they might have one, but are they active on it?
Well, you can see that. You can just see that with the views, like the stories, how you can see the views. Yeah. And I'll put the same. I've got many thousands more connections on LinkedIn, but you put up a story on the link on LinkedIn, and lucky if that got 8 or 9 views. But put it up on Instagram, and there's multiples of that see it. So I guess it's just the right putting out the right content and the right stuff in the right place where you're going to try and find those people.
That's it. I've got a question for you. I got asked this really, really good one on Instagram the other day, and if someone came to you with the first step, like the number one step to work towards financial freedom, if you couldn't do anything else, it was the first step before anything, what do you reckon it would be? I'll give you my on it, but what would you say it would be?
I think the very, very first thing is just having some understanding of where your money goes. Is the very first thing, in certainly the first thing that we tend to work through. Some clients that'll come in, they're acing that, and it's not a worry. And then there's others that are earning lots and lots of money, but come in and have no idea where it's going. And so understanding that first, and I think that's fundamental in the foundations of then starting to move forward. I'm not a big. I've dabbled in it, and I'm interested to see your views in the whole tracking every single dollar using Xero and My Prosperity and all of these other apps and stuff that you can do it. I did it personally for a while and just thought it was overkill, and instead have gone down the track of the whole separated bank accounts thing. So money my pay and my wife's pay goes into one main bank account, which is the offset to our home loan, and then there's sub accounts off there that we spend from on a weekly basis. So it's really only those weekly spending accounts. But what's yours?
You've hit the nail on that. mate, it's for me the foundation is knowing where your money goes.
Yeah.
The ins and outs, and I think the majority of people get that wrong. Yeah. You can say to someone, "Do you know where your money goes?" And they go, "Yeah, we know." And then when we do a forensic analysis of where their money goes, it's totally different. Yeah. And I think we're in a society where over years and years and years, we've had peace times, we've done well. There's been a lot of prosperity in this country, and therefore, as incomes grow, the situation just actually gets worse. Yeah. So, this is not a foundation just for a 18-year-old starting out. Yeah. Well, I'm talking about this as a foundation step, nearly for anyone that kind of comes to us. We need to nail this right.
And I'm sure you probably see it. The more money someone earns, often the bigger the problem is, because they've got a bigger mortgage, they've got a more expensive car lease, they're going on more extravagant family holidays, and so it doesn't go away. Earning more money doesn't change things. Earning more money just means more of it gets spent. And for a lot of my kind of my corporate type clients, a lot of my clients are office type workers. They're the ones that I kind of gel the best with, and for the most part, they've worked through all of this. Their incomes and things haven't been impacted, but for a lot of them, in a roundabout way, it's been a good reset for them to say, look, all of this money's still kept coming in. I've still had a job. I've been working from home. I've still had a job, but I haven't been able to go to Bali 2 times a year, or I haven't gone over to Europe for summer, and all of a sudden they're sitting there with a whole lot extra money and almost reassessing what they actually value spending that money on. And even you kind of take that thought pattern to the older, my retiree clients. Probably 2/3 of the clients that I work with are either transitioning through are already fully retired, and even them, it's been a bit of a wake up for a lot of them, where they're starting to say, you know what, we've actually done heaps of the overseas holidays. That they'd gotten so much into the routine of come back from one overseas holiday or one cruise and then book the next one. And, all well and good, they could afford it, great, keep going. But for a lot of them, they've actually turned around to me and said, you know what, James, we're not going, we can't go overseas for the next little while anyway. And you know what, that might actually be the end of it for us. And we'll potentially look to do something else with our money, help our kids, pay for grandkids' school fees or whatever it might be. But it's been a reset for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think hard times teach people lessons. I grew up in a family where my grandparents pretty much kind of raised me, or not raised me as such, but like they were very involved in my life, and they're post World War II, coming from Malta. My grandfather tells me about jumping off ships to go dive for corned beef cans. So I think when we grab that, and when we talk about prosperity and put that into finances, I'm not talking about that people need to live out of live out of baked bean cans and corned beef, but we need to have we need to have a value of this money that we earn. These are hours and hours and hours upon work. We need to be very thankful for the prosperity in this country. But it can go the other way. So I think understanding cash flow, and then it goes into obviously emergency funds, making sure you've got backup, and then, pushing forward onto some other things. But I think it's a problem, and obviously, a financial advisor can help in many facets. But it's interesting. I think the other one that I wanted to discuss, because obviously you can see that's the same pattern, was just in 2021. There's a lot of noise happening at the moment. We've got like we talked about, we've got the stock market at record highs. We've got property market going gangbust. We've got Bitcoin at, oh my God, levels. Yeah. And obviously there's this massive run out of cash. Yeah. Let's talk about this. Yeah. I think I'm of the belief that I think people need to be wary and actually seek professional advice more than ever now. I think that the noise is at an extreme level. Yeah. And, I think there's minefields everywhere, even for someone in the game. Are you tending to see that as well?
Look, yeah, and I think that there's been, with the whole lot of all of these micro investing and fractional investing and all Robin Hoods and stuff of the world. There's been a whole, I think, and I suspect probably a part of why we've seen markets recover to the extent that they have is there's been all of these first-time investors pumping a whole lot of money into the markets. And then they've just seen over the last 6 months, they've made 30, 40, 50%. They've bought, Tesla shares and they've made 8 times their money or something on Tesla in 6 months or, whatever extreme that's gone up. And then look back and think that's normal. I think there needs to be almost a resetting and an education, and maybe that's on us to try and educate the public to say that this recovery that we've seen in the last 6 months is not. You're not going to get returns like that every 6 months. You would typically see a run up, then some type of a fall off, then it goes up, then it falls off. Like that's just what markets do. They go up and down. Don't think that you just put your money on anything and you're going to make 15, 20, 30% in 6 months.
Correct.
This whole longer term mentality. So that's a bit of a worry. You've got these. There will be eventually. There'll be those last movers that have said, all of my friends have made so much money out of Afterpay, whatever. Pick something, and there'll be that last person in, before something goes bust, and something will inevitably goes bust. That just always happens. You just don't want to be that last person in. So something to be scared of, to be worried about.
It's very interesting, and I think you're right about this whole first time investors, and obviously what we were talking about right at the start with all these people coming on board and reaching out to me, like they were all of the young age group, never invested before, tried to explain to them the process and the methodology around why and all of those things, and there was people that didn't go ahead with my services, and I think I'm pretty sure I know what they did. They probably just went and set up an account and, tried to go invest and do what they need to do and not listen to the process. But, I would have thought that COVID, maybe the whole it being a V-shaped recovery in regards to the market didn't help anyone from a teaching them a proper lesson. I think the GFC taught a lot of people a lot of lessons. So, for the people who missed the GFC, I don't think they know what being smashed apart feels like. And I think with all this government stimulus being pumped away, it's just a matter of, I don't know, maybe I just feel bad for this first-time investor that, when the next one comes,
people will get burned.
It's going to be a bloodbath,
Hey, John, I've got to run. This has been good. We should try and organise another one. And
all good.
Get it up.
All good.
Leah's joined us as well. She's been there for a little while. So thank you for jumping on Clubhouse and the few people that have been in and out on LinkedIn. I think we got it working. We just need to promote it a bit more and work out how do we get a few more people to come in and listen to us chatting.
Sounds good, James. Sounds good, mate. Well, listen, have a great long weekend. Happy Australia Day to everyone and all the best.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Cheers, mate.
See you soon, mate. Bye.
See you, mate. Bye.